Hello there. It's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Johnny Test, Fred Flintstone, and one of my personal favorites, Leonardo. And you are listening to Epic Tales from the Sewer. It's totally awesome. Turtle power. Go, go, go.
Welcome to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. Grab yourself a slice, strap into the party wagon, and hang on tight. Give it up for your host, the totally radical, if slightly mutated, Justin.
Well, that was a new one for me. I've never seen that before. But welcome, everybody, to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. And this is Justin, your most excellent host. I am here with a special guest today, and we are going to be talking some turtles. My guest today is the writer of the TMNT Sourcebook and the new release, the TMNT Anatomy of a Mutant book. He is the co-host of the Nintendo Cartridge Society podcast and the producer for the Same Day Shipping podcast, and writer of Transformers Valentine's Day special. Please welcome Patrick Ehlers. Welcome.
Justin, thank you for having me. All those credits rolled out, one right after the other.
Like most of my writers' guests, your credits are impossible to find, so it's like you have to dig for them. But I actually did get to read the Transformers Valentine's Day special. I'm like, I need to get in on this. Who is Tap Out? I'm like, I need to know. So.
Yeah, Glyph and Tap Out,
Yep.
you know, like weird like disc or recolorations of like other basic bots. And I was like, are we doing anything with those two? And they said no, and I was like, great. Then I've got a love story we can do.
Was one of them Hound?
I don't know. I mentioned this to you before we started recording. I am a bit of a tourist in the, the Transformers fandom. But yeah, it's, you know, I think there is room for basically any kind of storytelling within the Transformers universe. It's so vast, and just like there are so many corners to unearth, especially in, you know, the continuity that they were dealing with at the time, that it was all you know, like this new invention. So yeah, it's I found two that like sort of had a history of being like either friends or was it romantic, and then I just blew it out from there.
And you're like, you fill in the gaps, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's a collaborative process here, storytelling.
Yeah, I like that. Well, let's start with your history with the Ninja Turtles and all that, because I'm going to make an assumption here that you were a fan growing up and all that. Why don't you tell me about your origin here?
Okay, my origin. I was born in 1982, which means I was the perfect age for Turtle Mania to hit me as it hit the rest of the United States and the world. But so yeah, I guess my entry point, like I would want to say that it's the 87 animated series. But the things that made like the most impact on me are obviously the 1990 movie, which I still in my head, like when I close my eyes and think of the Turtles, that's what I see. But more than that, I encountered the Turtles through the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness role-playing game, the add-on to Heroes Unlimited. I was the Palladium system was my like role-playing system when like D&D took off and got like super pop, like to its current level of popularity. I was like, oh no, I bet on the wrong horse as a child, because I grew up playing in the Palladium system.
Crap, I rolled an earwig.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, between that and then playing the various you know, as a big video game kid, so like I loved the three original NES Ninja Turtles games.
Absolutely.
And the arcade game, played that a ton. And like, so those are really my entry points. And really for me, Ninja Turtles was an interactive medium that I encountered it sort of first and foremost as either a video game or a pen and paper role-playing game. And so that's always kind of how I've thought of them, as like a malleable thing that we all get to play with. And then, like I kind of drifted away from Turtles after that, and it wasn't really and like I watched the like other the other 90s movies as they came out, to diminishing returns. But like I've never seen those Bay produced movies. But it came back to the series when IDW started publishing the comics in 2011, which sort of coincided with my move out to Los Angeles, which is where I currently live. It was like the first issue came out August 24th, 2011, which was my birthday and my first birthday celebrated in LA.
Wow.
So I associate my time living here with this series, the IDW comic series, and just like kind of became re-obsessed with the Turtles, generally speaking. And I've gone back to fill in a lot of my gaps since then, and read the Mirage stuff. I've got that first Archie compendium that I really, really love. But for me, they're mostly like a comic and game thing.
That's what I was going to ask, because it seems like you would be a Palladium guy, like based on like that was like not the shocker to me. And I even put it down. I'm like, play Palladium game, on my notes and all that. Yes. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Did you get in on the recent Kickstarter that they had?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, I've got my Donatello dice in here. No, I have Michelangelo dice, along with my copies of the book. When we were working on the source book, my original pitch was to call it Almanac of Strangeness, because I wanted it to be an ode to the and other strangeness of the role-playing game book. But they're like, no, we'll do source book. And I was like, that's fair. Almanac is also not totally correct, but I just like the word.
Well, that would be something that you're looking for, like when you go back from the future, into the past. Right. Mm-hmm. So something so you could, do gambling, that. And I mean, the Turtles do a fair amount of time travel. And let's be honest, Renette is all over that book. So.
It's true. Well, and if I had just had the almanac written by Lord Simultaneous or something, that like it would have been okay.
Yeah, I think that would have made perfect sense. So, do you play the Palladium game? Is that something that you're active?
No, I'm not actively playing. I'm actually actively playing a D&D game right now, and regretting that I don't know any of the rules.
No, was it 5th edition?
Yeah, I mean, we're using like a kit bashed 5th edition that is like using Star Wars specifics, which has been a lot of fun.
You just lit up the minds of all my audience members. They're like, Star Wars, what?
Yeah. Look into it.
Yeah, check it out. I mean,
it makes way more sense than because I have also got the Star Wars like pen and paper role playing game from I know there was one from like the 80s and 90s, but then there's one from like the last like 20 years, and I find that to be perplexing, and it uses too many special dice, which like I like on the front end being like, ooh, I can get some special dice, but then I hate having to use those special dice.
Yeah, I know it's man, it's crazy. You're like, whenever I have to use more 4-sided dice for something, I'm like, why bother? Why don't I just use a 6 or something and subtract 2?
It's so close. Whatever. We're right there. It's almost the same die.
I'm like, I don't even like holding these. Give me a dodecahedron and be done with it. So yeah. So you're someone who really gets into the minutia of things. You like to get into the nitty-gritty, the details and all that. So that's what makes you such an ideal person for this subject matter. So that's perfect. So we have that. Were you a collector of the toys as well as like the video games and stuff like that? Did you have the action figures?
That's a yes, you are correct that I got way into the action figures as a kid. It's not something that like I carried on into adulthood. My adulthood action figure sickness is fed mostly by my collecting of amiibo. in from Nintendo. But yeah, that's I was trying to think of the third pillar of why I think of Turtles as like an interactive franchise more than anything, and it was video games, role-playing game, and the action figures, that I was always telling my own stories with just like a bucket full of Ninja Turtles action figures. And the best thing about those guys is that they would just come out with new mutants like every month. There would just be more characters. And you know, some of that's fed from a lot of it is fed from the animated series, and a lot of those characters were generated by the role-playing game. So like that's where Bebop and Rocksteady come from. They're originally Kevin and Pete rolling up characters in Other Strangeness, and then putting them in this cartoon.
That's so cool. I remember seeing the original Peter drawings of those, and they just look cool. And those prototypes, you know, Isaac Elliott Fisher has the Turtle Power, and he was showing us some of the prototypes that they recreated, like Snot Shot and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So shout out to Isaac there. So with this, let's talk a little bit about your book here, which is the Anatomy of a Mutant. And let's see, I've got my little synopsis. So this book follows the scientific journals of Dr. Lindsay Baker, no relation to Tom Baker, Doctor Who, but who has been around since issue 1.
We don't know that.
Well, I mean, we don't technically know the doctor's last name, right? And he's the 4th Doctor, so
right,
you know. But she's been around since issue 1. She's been there with Chet and Dr. Baxter Stockman and with April, and she was doing the psychotropic substance experiments with Splinter and all that. And then we have notes and observations from Dr. Baxter Stockman with artwork from friend of the show, Mateus Santolouco. So that's kind of like the truncated elevator pitch of the book. How did this come to light? Because I've seen a couple of these things. I have the DC one, and I know there's a Marvel one as well. How does this happen? And how did you get?
I've got the Marvel one as well. The way that these things happen is that like this is Inside Edition's bread and butter, right? Like they put out these sort of reference books. How does the DC one frame itself? Is it
notes from Batman about things?
Gotcha.
So
and the Marvel one, they all look like that with the like Vitruvian Man image on it.
Oh, lame saint. Oh,
it and of course on our cover it is Leonardo, because you know Vitruvian Man. Okay, that's great. Good.
I did get that reference. So.
The Marvel one is written from like the Black Panther's perspective. So you know there's always like an in-universe justification for these things. So the way that this one came about is I had been working on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Sourcebook, which is like the encyclopedia for everything that takes place in the first 150 issues of the comics, with all attendant mini side micro series and annuals and everything else.
That's a lot. That is a lot of work. Like just to quantify 3 issues into this hardcover source book, which is amazing, and has the spine of all of the hardcovers from IDW, which is friggin' genius. It's a lot of work
right in there. It was a ton of work. I spent months and months with just my copies of the IDW collections like on my kitchen table. I felt like I was Gandalf, like digging through scrolls trying to figure out what this ring is about. Mercifully that thing came out over the course of like 4 individual issues over the course of like a year. So I had all these like mini deadlines that so I was writing it a quarter at a time, which I'm not going to say was manageable. It was still so much information.
I imagine.
But just having it broken up into quarters there like really helped both like structure the thing. I'm a big structure guy. Once I've figured out how to structure something, then like the writing sort of just flows. So anyway, I had done the source book, which I was working with Jeff Whitman at Nickelodeon, and
I figured that would be who it is, because he's like he's got it all in here anyway. So.
Right. Well, and anytime you see, Monty the Moose mentioned in anything, you can bet your bottom dollar that Jeff is behind it somewhere. He loves that character.
Wow.
So Monty has an entry in both books that I've written here. But so
I actually did the voice of Monty the Moose in a production from something. So.
let's hear the accent, because he's got to be Canadian. If he's not Canadian, it's not Monty.
Oh, I was just going with the Strange Brew Brothers,
Okay, yeah.
Was Monty talking to Ace, and
cool. I'm born and raised in Wisconsin, so I can also.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm in Chicago, so.
Hey, I was just in Chicago. I was just in your lovely city when the Canadian wildfires were wreaking horrible, smoky havoc on everything.
Yeah, it's just it's me and Abe Froman here having hard times.
Yes, I had done the source book, and when Inside Editions got the rights to do a Turtles anatomy book, their editor reached out to me. I had not had any like previous exposure to them or to Adrian, the editor. And she was kind of like, it was like an exploratory thing Jeff had recommended me, and just wanted to know, like, if I were to do this, how would I do it? Like through those conversations, she was like, we like to do an in-universe thing, and I was thinking that this would be from April's perspective, and I was like, yeah, April's perspective like would work, but she gets so far away from the science so early in that series. And I was like, if we're gonna do something that's like really nitty gritty and like really dorky and obsessive, let's use a character that we need to be like dorky and obsessive to even know who it is. And so that's why I was like, it should be Lindsay Baker. She's been on the front lines throughout. She has this complicated relationship to Hobb and the creation of many of these mutants, some of which she's done on her own. So like that was the real like thing that unlocked it for me. It also, because we were using the comics as our universe for this book, we needed an ending point. And because a book with like 300 pages of original art from Mateus takes forever to make, there's so much in the recent run of Ninja Turtle since the renumbering that we don't have it included in the anatomy book,
like when she turns into a giant spider.
That has to be the end, right? Is when she turns into a giant spider. And we have this conceit in the book that it is her notes recovered by Baxter Stockman and his team, and that he gets to write the final entry on her because she's gone crazy and is a giant Black Widow spider. And then there gets to be like a nice little like poetry to it that she's, exploring what happens to all of these characters as they turn into either turn into animal versions of themselves or into like humanoid versions of themselves. And then someone else gets to reflect that back onto her by the end. I'm always looking for ways to inject narrative into places where it might not belong, such as a reference book.
You could tell that in the source book when you're just reading about like Michelangelo as a character, and it's like, oh, hey, here's this going on. And it's like, oh, this is really kind of a compelling thing. This is not like, you didn't give me like what was on the back of a G.I. Joe action figure. You gave us like, hey, here's this. There's kind of like a little idea of what his personality is like. This is what he does. This is what he likes to do. These are the characters he hangs out with. And you kind of painted that picture there. And I thought it was spectacular.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. One of the goals of the source book was to make it readable from front to back. That if someone wanted to, it feels a little psychotic, if wanted to just read it straight through, that it would feel like a story, right? That it would feel like a massive thing that sort of reveals more layers the deeper into it you get. And some of that, we were doing some of that in universe, like extra information in the source book, right? Like, we have Dr. Harold Lilja is like offering commentary throughout that. Renette is also offering
Is that how you say it? Lilja?
I don't know. Oh, Lilja? Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right.
And someone else, there was another perspective that we kept tapping into. Now I can't quite remember, but yeah, as much as I could, like, we just wanted to make it feel like it was something fun to read and not just like a reference book. Again, so much of what I wanted to get out of both of these books is based on my experience as, a 10-year-old leafing through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, and just looking at the drawings and like reading the stats of the various characters, and like just getting to imagine all that stuff.
And so different from the source book is the anatomy book, because you have a consistent art presence from Santolouco all the way through it, and it's kind of like, when it comes to like big artists for Ninja Turtles, he's up there. Like, he is probably top 5 for everybody. I mean, I would be honest, like, there's others that I put up there. I'm a huge fan of Mike Dooney, huge fan of AC Farley, Eric Talbot, all these guys. Pharaoh Pay, is another one that's great.
Yeah, and a more recent addition too.
And Freddie, love Freddie Williams. So, was it always going to be Mateus Santolouco doing the book?
I mean, nothing is ever always. So we had thrown around a couple different artists, but Mateus, and there was a little bit where Mateus wasn't going to do the whole thing, just because there's so much art in there.
Work. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I won't mention the other names.
Yeah, you don't have to name names. I was just curious.
It was basically just like throwing around all the big names that have been working on the IDW comics. And I was like jaw on the floor when she was like, Mateus said yes, he'll do the whole thing. It's like, all right, okay, here we go. We got a book.
It's fantastic. And I mean, the first time I saw this cover, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. This is like exactly everything that I want as a fan. So
yes,
and then having read it already, oh wow, it was so cool. So I got a chance to go through it because I had reached out to you, I think last November, and I had been following up with Insight Editions. I'm like, send me a copy. So, and they did finally. So
hey, I haven't gotten my copies yet, but that's okay. I did manage to see a copy of it when I went to my local comic book store here, Secret Headquarters. Shout out to Secret Headquarters in Los Angeles.
Nice.
That obviously those guys know me there, and they're like, hey, we had a copy of your book, will you sign it for us? And I was like, yes, of course. Can I flip through it? I'd like to see the physical book.
Oh my goodness. So was it necessary for you to have a good working knowledge of anatomy, of at least human anatomy, to go through this, or what was the research like for that?
Yeah, so the book definitely says anatomy, but because everything is all these characters, or at least like all the mutants, are based in an animal of one kind or another, I tried to treat it a little bit more like a zoology book. And so like, I would say that I was reading a lot about different just like animal things, like less so than digging into like human anatomy, which I have like a basic understanding of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say just as I was saying about like wanting everything to be narrative, I don't really want to talk about like the a character's lungs or like their bones. I want to talk about something as it relates to an ability or personality that they display in the text, and express that. So it was a lot of it was almost more research going back through the comics, and of course referring to my own source book.
Yep.
To just like hit the various things that like powers that characters have, and trying to dig into like, okay, we Koya's flight, how does that work, and
does she have hollow bones, like
exactly all that kind of stuff, that where it's just like when you see someone do something or behave in a certain way, then you're like, okay, is there an animal explanation for this? And they're just so a lot of these characters come from the most characteristic megafauna in the world. A rhinoceros is the most interesting animal that you can look at, and here's a human rhinoceros hybrid mutant. And so let's just write about rhinoceroses for a while.
I love that. I'm going to tell you, I ran with a little bit of your specifics. I had the turtles estimated at 5'6" for height, but I think it's like right around 5'5", maybe a little bit less. Is that it's somewhat accurate?
Yeah, I think Donnie's 5'4" and he's the tallest.
Okay, so maybe I'm slightly overestimating here. But,
yeah, the height numbers came from IDW. So those
okay.
I'm not sure who exactly, but the little bit of lore that they had under lock and key that we could use, all the heights of characters came from that.
So let's say then that he's 5'4". So based on your specifics, I calculated the estimated punch force for a 5'4" turtle at roughly 200 pounds, because I wasn't sure exactly how much it would be, but it was going to be about 44,420 kPa. Capable of causing severe injuries, including fractures and organ damage, roughly more pressure than a hydraulic press. And the reason I say that to you is because when we're talking about the turtle anatomy and you see the hand that is there and you see this dense thing with the bones comparison to a human hand, you believe that these guys, it's like, well, why don't they use their weapons all the time? Well, there you go. They've got this big old flipper that they're
mitts,
and they're punching people with. So,
well, and that's one of the beautiful things too, is that like turtles don't have 3 fingers in the world. Humans don't have 3 fingers in the world, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, canonically, they've got 3 fingers, right? So like, is there a justification? There's a lot of times here where the information is made up to begin with, and so Mateus and I are out here like justifying scientifically things which have no scientific justification.
Of course, yeah.
And
the Marvel, when they're talking about Cyclops, it's like he opens a portal to a
punch dimension. Yes, very good.
Like, no, that's not true. They're lasers. No, that's not true. They're
not true.
We'll just whatever the
they're
plot
concussive
is.
Blasts. We know that they're concussive blasts. They do not generate heat.
Yeah, exactly. But gets it.
It's
He's a master of angles.
But like beyond that, because I'm writing this from the perspective of a mutant scientist, that there are parts of the lore that are inaccessible to her, which is also a fun like bit of perspective writing to do. When she's there's a little bit in there about like Michelangelo being able to speak Japanese, as he's the only one that has like that bit of memory from their previous lives, and she's a scientist, so she's like, do I believe in reincarnation? Sorta. Like we can bring up like Q&A, and like mentioning that like if it is a physical object, then it obeys the rules, the laws of thermodynamics, and can either be created or destroyed. So it's possible that it somehow found its way to a mutant turtle, living in the year 2000. But like that level of coincidence is something that she has a hard time squaring. She doesn't know that it's not a coincidence. Spoilers for TMNT 150, but that is a time traveling
mega shark.
Well, yes, of course, time traveling mega shark, but that Venus is, the one like physically and intentionally delivering that Q&A, for that purpose, is something that she will never know, and could never comprehend, and is so just not part of our narrative in the book.
But there's nothing biological or biologically different about Michelangelo from the other turtles that allows him to maintain language and memory skills from like a previous life then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I not to my knowledge, not in my opinion. I think that's just part of the there again, try to justify magic things through science is can leave you wanting, and sometimes you just got to be like, well, to the best of our ability, we think it works this way, but I mean, I think Mikey is just more. It's almost more of a psychology thing in my mind. That he's always like open to experiences, and that includes his own. And so like he can find like an empathetic connection to and communicate with just about anyone. And that would extend to his past life. It just makes poetic sense to me.
Here's a question, because I mean, I'm going to count you as somebody who has written the Turtles, who has, a good opinion of this, and I mean, all the lore. Do you think Michelangelo is the hardest to write?
Ooh.
Because I feel like you can fall into tropes with Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael, but for Michelangelo, he can be terrible. And there's so many stories where he says literally nothing. And I wonder if it's just shorthand. Like if you take a look at Where When, the crossover with Stan Sakai, what does Michelangelo even say? But kind all the other turtles sound like Michelangelo, and it's like,
yeah. I mean, it is interesting because like I think Raphael is an easy turtle to write. I think he's probably the easiest, right? Because we all get angst and we all get feeling alone in the universe, and sort of like defaulting to anger. There's more to him than that, but like those are like the broad strokes that can carry you through with that. And
he's great to put in any position. It's like, hey, guess what? It's Wolverine. Not really. It's Raphael. Okay, go at it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and like he works on any team, right? You throw him in with any other characters, and you're like, he's a live wire. This is going to be great. And I know that like Kevin Eastman also has like such a soft spot for that character and like loves him to death. And so anytime that like he's writing him, he totally works. Donatello, like you say, there's like sort of a tropiness about him, but also I know he's Tom Waltz's favorite character to write. And that Tom used him as like an exploration of like science and religion and like faith versus reason and all this kind of stuff playing out in that one character. And then I think Leonardo is also like similarly, like it's the narrative behind the personality of like the dutiful son who never feels like he's going to measure up, it's clear, right? And
takes
so
the world on his shoulders.
Exactly.
Like everything has to be so dire. It's I see more in Leo than most people, but Leo's my guy. So yeah,
I love Leo. Mikey is my favorite. And I think part of that is like you're right that he can so often be reduced to like he's the fun one, or he's the embodiment of like their whole kind of like 90s surfer dude shtick, the party dude, as it were. And I just think there's so much more to him than that. In every opportunity I get, I will mention that he is the most emotionally intelligent of the turtles, that he actually engages people in what they need and want psychologically. He can intuit these things, and can be selfless. He can also be selfish. He can be silly, but he's never like, he's not irreverent. He's like accessing humor as a defense mechanism, as a way of breaking through other people's barriers. So, I mean, it is genuinely hard to write funny comic books, right? Like, it's tough. Comedy is in timing, and when you're reading a comic, you are in control of the timing. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think he is probably pretty tough to write. I've enjoyed in the recent IDW comics the way that he's being written in the story that reunites the turtles with their deceased parents.
With Gene Yoon.
Yeah, I think
I am loving his run. Absolutely,
it's fantastic. It's really, really good. I love the focus on the like Japanese side of the turtles. It just grants them a collective identity in a way that we don't get otherwise. But I've one of the things that's been very exciting for me reading that is like I can see that Gene is characterizing some of the turtles in a way that I did in the source book that wasn't totally like not if it wasn't canon, it just wasn't like prioritized.
Some of us noticed that.
Yeah. That was like, oh, cool. Or, that Tang Shen is like acknowledged as like a master gardener. And I was like, yeah, that's in the comics, but like I said it in the source book. So
and that's what Sophie Campbell was doing too, by giving them all their own agency. And I have shouted this from the rooftops, because there's those Mirage thumpers out there that hit the old books and they're like, they're not punching and kicking the Foot Clan and Shredder. Be like, calm down, man. Leonardo's a gardener. He has a third dimension now. Like, he has a friend named Bob. We don't like Bob, but you know what? Leo likes Bob, and he's trying to teach Jay how to throw a good punch kick without getting poisoned. Leave him alone.
Yeah, it's. So, I mean, with especially with how and the way that Tom Waltz works with Bobby Curnow and Kevin, or the way that they did work when they were writing the first 100 issues. They wrote this amazing epic. Like always came crashing into its own deadlines, right? So they would find all these areas like to breathe, but by and large, they were hitting milestones. Like issue 50 is a big end of the story. Issue 100 is a big end of a story. And things just get like crammed in there, and there's so much incident in those first 100 issues and all the side series and stuff. And then that Sophie gets to like slow it way down with 101 to I mean, whereabouts does like all the Triceraton stuff and the Armageddon game, like we start getting into that in like 135 somewhere around there?
That's around when Gavin Smith took over. So you've got 75 is right around where like the Triceraton War is. So then you get past
75 is the trial of Krang. Yeah.
And then like, so all the interstellar stuff. So it's like, okay, we've got these guys, they're players here and all that. But I guess we did see them in the Neutrino War and all that earlier. So
we did, but they were just kind of like soldiers. Anyway, my point is that like, I love how much Sophie let those characters breathe.
Oh yeah,
let the world breathe. Like I know that. So in working on the source book, I had a ton of conversations with Sophie about like recurring background mutants, because there is a cast of maybe like 20 mutants that had no names, but were just drawn in the background, and sometimes like. Usually they wouldn't even get lines, but like they're there and they make up the fabric of Mutant Town. So in talking to Sophie about it, like she had all these big plans and ideas for like how Mutant Town worked and just like the sort of day-to-day of it, and had like a healthy sense of humor about like maybe that's like too boring to put in like a book or anything. But it all felt so lived in and patient, which then I think is reflected on all the characters too.
I would say. Did you get to name any of these characters? Because I know that there's some in there like Wanda the mutant ant or something like that. She had a name in the series.
Yes. I mean, yeah, there are characters in there that are named by Sophie and myself. Yes. Cool. That had no names previously. In particular, there are children, the children of Mutant Town. I'm just flipping through my copy right now. That she and I went through with like a spreadsheet, and it was like, okay, this issue, this page, who is this? We've seen this guy like 6 times.
Who's the beluga? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is the beluga? Did we name the beluga?
I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know, Patrick. I mean,
well, it's in the source book.
Okay, get the source book. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these things did cross over into the anatomy book, which was great because I looked. I'm like, holy shit, they got the porcupine in here. I'm like, this is fantastic.
Oh, I love Diamond. That's the porcupine. She that character is another one that's like straight from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness. That like there's a drawing of
there's a picture.
Porcupine. Yeah. And again, like that is something that then has to become a full-fledged character. It doesn't start out that way. It starts off as just like a drawing that you can't stop thinking about.
It takes a minute, and she starts out contentious and all that, and then eventually she becomes the drummer in Jenica's and Sheena's band, right? So,
yep.
Because what do you do with a porcupine? And I thought that was genius. It's like, oh, we're gonna fight you. No, we're gonna do a battle of the bands. Even better, thank you. This
better.
could have been a video game.
It's also it's also something that would be like so at home in like manga or like an anime or something.
Yeah, probably.
which is that's so like embracing like the various like roots of Ninja Turtles, because like one of the things that I find so fascinating about the IDW run is that it is this like omnivorous take on Ninja Turtles. It is borrowing from like every previous iteration and then injecting it with its own spin, like the whole reincarnation thing. That's pure waltz, right? But yeah, to this point, we had no even like sideways reference to like the Out of Their Shells tour, and like that can be a part of the Turtles lineage that you can be like, oh, that's sort of lame, and I can't believe we lived through that, and I can't believe the series lived through that, but it's
coming
part of
back this year.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing another one, and it's going to be coming back, and there's going to be 45-year-old men sitting there in their jorts with Crocs on, going, yeah, pizza pod, hey, skipping stones, woo,
Yeah, I mean, I'll go. I'll get tickets. It sounds like fun.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'll probably go.
But that's what I'm saying though, is that like and it's something that in the source book, I have like a page in the Mutant Town section that's just about budding romances, because there was a lot of it, and that was like a note from editorial to be like, hey, do we need this page on romance? And I was like, I mean, we kind of do. It's like what the series became for a little bit, and like we gotta embrace all parts of what this is. I just think that there are so many different flavors of comics, and you ignore the romance comics at your own peril. It's a big part of the medium, and so we should have that kind of stuff in Turtles, and we should celebrate and acknowledge it in our reference materials. It
is an interesting and a very polarizing topic.
Totally.
Because I know like we did talk about your other show, which is the Same Day Shipping podcast, right? And listening to the Cowabunga ships, you guys didn't have a lot of ships besides like, oh, we've got April and Casey because they're the two humans and all that. So that was kind of thing. It's I don't think it's unshippable. And now since this, I mean, you've got kind of Donatello was put next to Mona Lisa, but Mona Lisa kind of wasn't into it because she wasn't really comfortable in her own skin. You've got
you got Raph and Alopex, which I feel like that's Endgame right there, where it's
oil and water. Yeah.
But keep them together, baby. I want to see it.
Oh, the battle nexus where they're just beating the hell out of each other, and they're just like, I don't know if this is toxic or not, but I mean, they're there for each other. They just had to work this out.
They're both just so angry.
Yeah, like it was crazy. I'm like, yeah, it kind of made sense though. So
when it's also, I always think about how the stories express their teenageness, their mutantness, their ninja-ness, and their turtleness, right? That those are like actually important vectors of the characters to explore.
Yeah.
And a huge part of being a teenager is having like a weird sexual relationship with someone that you don't understand, that they don't understand. And like for two mutants to be like, okay, you're a fox and I'm a turtle. How does this work? And it's like, who cares? You love each other. You have feelings for each other. That's how it works. And I just, I think that's always an important part of who these characters are, or at least who they could be.
Why do you think Raphael is usually that character that draws others to him, like Ninjara or Alopex or Mona Lisa in all of these? Like, why is it Raph?
I think there's like the sort of like spiciness of the like, like the hot temper also is like, hot blooded. Like, I don't know. I think there's a, passion begets passion. So I think that's it. I think Raphael is also just like one of the more emotionally available turtles. I think it'd be kind of tough
not
to
for his
break.
brothers.
No, that's true. Yeah. But he always, like, every iteration he's got a great relationship with Casey, right?
Yeah.
So like he forms a strong bond that like lasts, that is deep and like important. And just because that's never been cast as romantic between Raphael and Casey doesn't mean that he can't form that kind of relationship with someone of the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had talked to Kevin Eastman about this, and I said, I'm like, what about like the idea of like reproducing? And he said, he's like, we never explored that because it wasn't interesting, and it wasn't a story that we felt we needed to tell.
Yeah.
Where it's like Alan Moore would probably be like, this is how Dr. Manhattan pees. Oh, interesting. And it's like we're not those guys.
I mean, I can't tell you how many people I told about the Turtle Anatomy book who were excited to ask me, do you know how turtle penises work? Because turtle penises are weird. They're like long and they come out and they're like,
oh, I've seen the video. Yeah.
And I was like, hey, guess what I'm not going to write about?
yeah. I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, do you decide to go down that road and like alienate the fan base or anything? Because it's like, can they be fragile? Can they handle this? Are they ready for this? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and like specifically in terms of like how weird the penis is, I'm just sort of like, I don't want to like make jokes about it, so I also don't really want to. They're like usually not wearing pants, so to ever have to like confront that, I'm just like, maybe that's not our job here.
Plus, they're teenagers. You got to just leave it alone at that and be like, hey, I know you're interested in this. Go read up on the animal and leave these guys out of it.
Leave these guys out of it. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's like that whole thing. So with the research that you're doing about animals and stuff like that, did you find any interesting facts about either turtles or maybe like rats or giant alligators that you found were pretty profound and interesting?
The thing that sticks with me kind of the most from this was so like the way that like the process worked is that we had that my editor Adrian and I had this like giant spreadsheet of all the characters that we wanted to discuss, and all of the that like what's the like is there one hook, is there one thing that we want to explore, and like how it relates to the way they're able to do what they're able to do. And some of them are like a little bit easier, like Man Ray or Bludgeon, and because creatures from the sea, fascinating, and the ocean, a terrifying place full of monsters that we don't understand. So like all of that is fun, and discussing like shark teeth and their like hides and stuff, all very cool. I love that rhinoceroses run on their tiptoes, so that made an appearance in the book. But the one thing that I keep going back to is Pigeon Pete and his phenomenal sense of direction.
A homing pigeon.
Yeah, it's a homing pigeon, exactly. And that like there was a school of thought for a little while that there were like iron pellets inside a pigeon's beak that like act as a bit of a compass, and they can sense magnetic fields and navigate that way. But in like the last 10 years, that's something that's been like totally debunked. And so like we don't really understand how they are able to perceive magnetic fields. And I think that's fascinating. But I also like that is something that Pete would believe, that he would believe outdated information about his own biology. So,
but aren't they also non-migratory though?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, pigeons are just a confusing animal to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
but crazy. No, I like that because it reflects so cleanly on the dichotomy that is the character Pigeon Pete, where he's supernaturally good at board games, but otherwise is an idiot, is like an irredeemable idiot. And so like how to square those kind of things, and him reading like on Facebook that like, oh, I've got iron in my beak, feels so like true to character for him.
Yeah, I like that. So he's easily led astray, and I mean they kind of continued that into the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series with him and all of that kind of stuff, and like even in the cartoons. So, and I think it's like, yeah, they're reading your source book, man. It's like they're absolutely doing that.
And you know, I can't fault them. Again, when working my way through the anatomy book, I would be like, okay, I got to go find this thing in the series, because that's what I was used to doing when working on the source book. I was like, no, wait a minute, I'll just refer to my own work. I did this already.
Yeah, you've already did it. It's like, okay, let's pull it up. So that's awesome. Let's see. I was going to ask about anything surprising, but you've already kind of said that. Let's see. How about let me throw you a curveball here.
Sure.
If the Ninja Turtles were going to pick and play each an original NES game, which game would be their favorite?
Ooh, okay. Original NES. So I guess what makes this a little bit tricky is we frequently see them playing the Street Fighter games in the comics.
I will concede that it could be Genesis if you want. Like it could be that.
No,
okay.
Stick to original
Master
NES.
System. Yeah.
No. It's gonna. We're gonna stick.
All right, no, that's fair.
Original NES. Okay, so I think Donatello. I'm gonna cheat a little bit with Donatello, because I think he's importing a Famicom, so he can play Fire Emblem.
Okay.
So you know, it's a tactical strategy game. Was never released in the US, although I guess there was a special edition of it that came out for the 35th anniversary.
So Mikey will translate it for him.
Yeah, or he would have like a translate app up on his phone and be playing it that way.
Yeah, that's he's got the Japanese Game Shark on his. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, he works it all out himself. Leonardo, I think, has got to do like an action game of some kind. He might not an action game. He's gonna be playing the original Metal Gear, because it's sneaky and like infiltrate-y, and has like a grand story about like a chosen one. That's what Leo's got to get up to. Raph has got to play something angry. What's the angriest NES game I can think of? Punch Out.
I think Punch Out makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Raphael plays Punch Out, but he's not good at it. You know,
I keep losing to Soda Popinski. Okay,
that's right. He's got Glass Joe down to, you know,
but this is a Don Flamenco on a regular
basis.
Right. Because he only has the three fingers.
And then Michelangelo. I mean, I think he's got like a little bit like basic video game tastes, and he recognizes perfection when he sees it. So it's Super Mario Brothers 3 from Michelangelo.
That's a base choice. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can't go
sometimes
wrong.
The base choice is right, though, you know, where it's just like, an undeniable masterpiece. Of course.
Do you ever get stuck on like those games that you had and then like nobody knows what they are? Like, and I don't know if you had like a game like that of like, oh, I got the QVC game from my grandmother of Big Nose the Caveman, and nobody knows what the hell this is. So someone talks about like a cultural text like touchstone, and they're like, oh, the greatest NES games ever, and you're like, you hear someone talk about like the weird Bible game that you had, and you're like, what?
Yeah, it's for me, it's always Tiny Toons Cartoon Workshop, which was a late NES game, I think like 1993, like really late. And
that's when you play as Plucky.
So you make cartoons with it. So it was a little bit more in the vein of like Mario Paint, but you had these like sprites of the various Tiny Toon characters that you could like place in a background and like make these little movies. And so like Plucky was in there for sure. Buster, Furball the cat, Calamity Coyote and Little Beeper. And you could like take them out onto the American West and like do a whole like little cartoon with them. I would make cartoons with those and record them onto the VCR. I loved that game. I never hear anyone talk about it.
Wow, that's a super obscure one. I mean, my guess would have been Kabuki Quantum Fighter. So yeah. I bet that was the last time someone referenced that one, right?
I mean, that is a deep wow.
Yeah, that's a deep wow. But I've never even heard of. So I'm sure I have it on an emulator somewhere. I have to check that out. It's Tiny Toons, you said?
Yeah, Tiny Toons Cartoon Workshop.
Oh, that's freaking fantastic. I love that one. Yeah, so let's see. We talked about that. I wanted to ask, what is your opinion of Huevos Rancheros pizza at Rupert's? Was that your idea that was the best pizza, or is that just like a crazy pizza that's out there?
So I did go out looking for strange pizza toppings, and was enamored with the idea of Huevos Rancheros pizza. I mean, Huevos Rancheros, just a great weird mismatch of food to begin with, where because you're basically just putting chips and salsa in a pan and making them sort of act like rice, and then having eggs on top of that. And I was just like, yeah, let's just add that pile of delicious stuff to the top of a pizza. But yeah, I mean that was the result of just like random Googling to see like, what pizzerias had strange pizzas. And so yeah, I declared that their best pizza.
Is that a white pizza, or does that have some sort of tomato base to it? Is there like a red sauce on it? What's your
yeah, it's like I would say probably like a sriracha based sauce or something.
Oh,
that's like
hell
got
yeah.
spice to it. Yeah.
That is definitely going to be our pizza recipe for this episode. Yeah, that's
I should have tried to make one before publishing it. But
yeah.
Maybe I'll do that this weekend. Maybe I'll try to make a Huevos Rancheros pizza this weekend.
Yeah, that would be good. Are you going to make the dough yourself, go like from scratch, like completely, or are you going to like
we could do that. We could do that. Yeah. That's a nice, although it's been hot in LA, so maybe I don't want to take on a baking project.
Oh yeah. You got to get the outdoor pizza oven like Mikey would have.
Well, sure. That's true. I am not living up to Mikey's ideals there.
Oh, let me ask you this one. I was curious about Jenica because we've talked about all the other turtles so far, but we really talked about Jenny a little bit. I am a big Jenny fan. When Jenica was changed with the transfusion of Leonardo's blood, does the mutagen work the same as the others, or is she different? Like, does she have like vestigial bones and all that from being a human? Like, is there anything that's different?
She's different. She is definitely different.
I don't think that comes across often, like even in like Night Watcher and all that.
Right. Well, and Night Watcher does sort of like I love the Night Watcher series. I thought that was really great. But in some ways she does get a little Raffaelli throughout that series.
There's so much crossover with her and Raph and her and Leo. It's like she's kind of like in between that, and then she's different. So she's hard to pin down. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean she's taller than the rest of the turtles. They're just like her like limb proportions are all like a little bit more human. So yeah, she definitely mutated in a different way, and obviously she started human and turned into a turtle. But I think even beyond that, there's a lot of her humanity that she maintains, despite the fact that like she's very turtle looking. I think she's absolutely more human than the four Hamato boys, and more human than like Lita or Venus, who is a frog become magical turtle.
She's like twice mutilated. Like, man, Venus has had a rough time.
Yeah, well, and the fact that she only is able to realize her true form when her DNA is magically passed on from her future self to her past self makes it all the more confusing.
Yeah, but how cool is it that they managed to get the character with the braided thing to look like she's got? Oh man, that was so cool.
I know
everything they did about that character just like worked in the end. It was like chef's kiss.
Yeah, yeah.
And all the people who were
magical
just
stuff.
like, this is stupid. Who's this character? Be like, read it, dude. She's fighting a giant space shark that Donatello created. Read it.
Read it. It rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, going back to Jenica, I was just looking at the Loyal Subjects figure that they had.
Yeah.
And she's taller than the other ones.
Yes.
So
yeah.
It makes sense. I was surprised that she didn't end up having some other distinguishing feature, like an extra finger or something else like that, because of her anatomy being so different.
Well, I mean, it's tricky because, like, I know that the goal in creating Jenica was to like get there as organically as possible and to kind of set her up to be. It's always tough to like introduce and maintain a fifth turtle, especially when you start handing off the creative reins. But like the idea was to make her as much of one of the family as possible. So I think leaning too much into biological differences might have made that trickier. But yeah, I do get what you're saying, that like if she maintained the 5 fingers or something, would just be like an easy way to clock her. But like Lita also has the 3 fingers, so that's just within the world of Ninja Turtles. If you're a turtle and a mutant, 3 fingers.
There's nothing more disappointing in this series that when they unmutated or demutated Lita.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. And it's like, I love this character, and that Sophie Campbell cover with Renette and Lita and like everybody else with like the Kevin Eastman inks and all that. Oh my God, what a cover.
Yes. With like the big fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, just like, ooh, so good, and I wish Lita was still there, because this was just like the greatest, like, oh, this is Renette's apprentice. I'm like, hold on a second, this is awesome.
I know. Yeah. Future Time Lord Lita is awesome.
And guess what, guys? We have 3 Lady Turtles now. We got 3 of them.
So we got a bunch.
I'm like, what more do you want? You got legacy now. Mm-hmm. So which will lead me into the final thing I want to talk to you about, which is The Last Ronin. And so we have a Ronin verse. We have The Last Ronin, we have The Lost Years, The Last Ronin, we have Last Ronin 2, we have Trading Day, all of this stuff. If there was to be a book that came out, a source book about The Last Ronin, the Ronin verse, sign you up for that?
Sign me up for it, of course, because I love doing this kind of thing.
Yeah. I love a paycheck, Justin.
I do. I do love a paycheck, but like it's when you start doing the math of like, okay, how much did I get paid per hour that I worked on this? And it's like, oh no, oh no, that's not fair. But it like they are all labors of love. It's I like The Last Ronin. I don't love it. They're
interesting. Okay.
There's just like a little bit of I think it's all very cool. And I like how sort of like singular the creative voice has been, because it's always using like their same stable of like 3 or 4 artists like throughout the series, and even within issues, like they're engaging those different art styles, but all in service of like this one story. And I love the way Tom writes, and I love Kevin's story, but for me, like nothing since the first issue has lived up to the hype of that first issue. And maybe I would feel differently if I like just explored it deeper. I've read the One and Lost Years, and I'm like, this is okay. I like it just fine. But my heart is just with the IDW like main timeline Turtles. Although I gotta say, I was moved by in issue 300 that there is a like a sort of little backup feature in there that is Renette cleaning up the timelines after the Battle Nexus, and she's like visiting each one and it's all very comics forward, which I love.
Yeah.
That it was really just being like, no, yeah, sure, the Turtles exist in all these other mediums, but we're just talking about the comics here. And then it ends with like a sort of side by side of, you know, the new Turtles, and them like, you know, posed and ready to go, sort of up against the original Mirage Turtles, in their, you know, like cover of #1, and like there is something very like full circle about that I like. But yeah, for whatever reason, the Last Ronin has not quite captured my heart the way that it has everybody else.
I think you'd like the new 4, you know, in terms of, I think like just what I think would be a really worthy thing is if Tom or maybe like Paul Ehlers or Eric Burnham end up like doing like an ongoing with these 4 characters, because I think I'm like, you've got legacy, you could do anything with these, send them into space, who cares? Like just give me these guys. They don't have to worry about Hiroto or anything. It's there we go. I'd love it. I love these guys. So you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think they're really cool. I just it's maybe just being like so kind of bogged down in like the loss of the other Turtles, which again is cool, and like the novelty of that is awesome. I just I like it. We can go strange new places with the Turtles.
Yeah, it's my least favorite thing that they died, but it's so important to the narrative that it's like, okay, you know, but it's like, well, you know. But I like Tom's writing because it's so reminiscent of like a Chris Claremont for me, where it's like, you know, like the episodic X-Men where he did 17 years straight. It's like, well, Tom's leaving breadcrumbs here that, you know,
could pay off years from now.
Down the road. I'm like, and he just pulled in from Archie Comics. What the hell, you know? So like all these sort of things, and you know.
Well, and that's one of the things that I just absolutely loved about Tom's writing during the first 8 years of the IDW run is, you know, in addition to being omnivorous from the previous versions of the Turtles, that he was paying like such close attention to all the other stuff that they were publishing, and would like the way that he tells it, he's like champing at the bit to get these characters and that are introduced or made up in the side series into the main series. Because like Alopex comes from a micro series issue, Dr. Lilja comes from a micro series issue, and like those are some of his favorite characters to write. And you know, he introduced them into like the main numbered continuity as soon as possible. So like, yeah, I think he's just very into the sort of like ninja soap opera that was his own run on Ninja Turtles, and you know, made it feel like this huge interconnected ongoing story.
And then it gets all existential and everything else going on. So it's like, and it ends that way. I'm like, oh wow, so interesting to me. So that's crazy. So man, we've gone on for an hour now about this, and I feel like there's still more to delve into. But alas, I've asked you about pizza. Let me ask, are you a pizza guy? Like, are you like into pizza?
Yeah, of course. Love a pizza.
What's your go-to toppings? If you're going to order, you get carte blanche. You can order whatever you want, whatever type of pizza. It could be any locale, any restaurant in the country. So, or the world. Why not?
So I am a vegetarian. So many of the pizza toppings that I think of as the best pizza toppings, like pepperoni. Pepperoni's an all-timer. I won't eat. However, there is a pizza place near me called it's now called No Name Pizza. It was for a long time Crispy Crust here in the Atwater Village in Los Angeles. That does a pizza that is and it's simple, but it's jalapeno, pineapple, and pepperoni. And if you can get it with the veggie pepperoni, which they don't always have, it is just, it's hot and sweet and like crispy, and I love it to pieces.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think pineapple mixed with pepperoni, either vegetarian or not, and let's say it's vegetarian in this one, has that sort of zip to it, and I'm with you. You know, it's got the really good contrast of the sweet and savory. So,
There is also a pizzeria down the street from me called Hail Mary that does a margarita supreme pizza that's like a basic margarita pizza, but then also has like burrata and
that's like super cheese.
It's incredible. It is just this the whole thing feels like creamy and like just a little bit sweet, and also has like some spice to it too. Really a wonderful pizza.
Yeah, good margarita pizza is like hard to beat, like just in general. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you. The only thing I don't do anymore is put artichokes on because they tend to soak through the dough. So that's
yes.
Well, I'm just done with that.
You got to be careful with too many veggies of any kind that it'll get wet.
I'm a mushroom guy, so like that's
love
what I would be like. Super mushroom pizza, Mushroom Kingdom Mario pizza. There you go. That's what I would be. Man, this has been fantastic. I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk about this.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
The book is in stores now. It is it was released on August 4th, so it is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Anatomy of a Mutant. We have your podcast, right? The Nintendo Cartridge Society. Did I get that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Every Tuesday and Thursday. So the pitch. Yeah, the pitch on Nintendo Cartridge Society is that the Tuesday episode is like a news episode where we check in on what we've been playing and what's new in the world of Nintendo, and then the Thursday episode is a topic of some kind, and sometimes that can be like a review of a new release, and frequently it is something more esoteric and funny. We are ranking the outfits in Super Mario or in Mario Kart World, or anything else like that. It's just getting strange.
What's on the bottom? Frog suit or
so we were so we did rank the Mario power-ups at one point, or maybe we just determined the best one, but the frog suit is an easy one to throw out, to be like, hey, look, it's adorable, but I mean useless.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to beat the whole game with the frog suit one time just to be like, well, let's see if it can be done. So it was a horrible experience.
No, it couldn't have been fun. I do like that all of the kings that you that have been transformed, and then you transform them back by beating the Koopa kids in the airship. They will react to you differently if you are wearing a frog suit.
Oh, I probably haven't even seen that in so long. So that's wow, that's the deep lore you're finding out here, listeners. So that's
yeah,
awesome.
That's right. That's the kind of stuff we talk about all the time on NCS. So
have you had a chance to go through Splintered Fate and all that? Like, have you guys talked about that game?
Yeah, so I talked about Splintered Fate a little bit. I was playing that right around when I was playing Hades, which is a very similar game, like gameplay style, and Hades is just like vastly superior to Splintered Fate. But I mean, I love Shredder's Revenge. I think that
Shredder's Revenge is so good.
It's like a perfect beat 'em up.
The Mike Patton music from that alone makes it the best ever. So yeah.
Well, and like they've got so many characters in there now, and like they're all fun, and the Shattered Dimension like side game that they added later is also
that's all I play anymore. I love it.
It's so good.
I'm just like, give me every character. Can I just get Ninjara, please? Like,
yes. And it's amazing how like because I liked Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is like a similar take on that formula. It's good. It's not Shredder's Revenge though.
No, it's not. And I mean, very, very honestly, it's because like a lot of the things that they decided to just be like, well, let's just do the power up where you can just have the other character come in. I don't care. Yeah. I want to play a She-Hulk through the whole level. I don't care.
I don't want to have to trade back and forth with my partner character. Totally.
Yeah, like but He-Man's coming out. Dragon Pearl.
I was just going to add that the thing that I love about Shredder's Revenge is how many of the characters' moves are references to their moves in other video games, which is just like that's incredible. That kind of thing always makes me happy.
There's nothing that I've seen, like, besides maybe your source book, that was as well researched as Shredder's Revenge. So it's like, so you can take that as a boon. But,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah, that's fantastic. So what about writing projects? Do you have anything else that you can actually talk about that you have going on? So
I do not have anything that I can talk about at the moment. No.
But there's some stuff that you can't talk about. That's good. Okay, we'll look out for that. Do you want folks to follow you on your Instagram?
Yeah,
best way to follow you.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to follow me is on the Nintendo Cartridge Society podcast. I'm not super active on Instagram, but Patrick _Ehlers on Instagram. If you do want to check me out there.
Okay, excellent. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a lot of fun, and for all the listeners, we're going to be right back with our pizza recipe of the day. And for all the viewers, thank you, and we'll catch you next time on Epic Tales from the Sewers.
It's pizza time.
And now, in a segment that we call Pizza Time, where we discuss any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or pizza-related food, I give you Pizza Time. And now, for your pizza recipe of the day, Huevos Rancheros Pizza. Ingredients: 1 ball 15 ounce of pizza dough, pre-made or store-bought, 1/2 cup of refried black or pinto beans, 3/4 cup of chunky red salsa, store brand or homemade, 1 cup shredded Monterey Jack or cheddar cheese, 1/2 cup cooked chorizo sausage or substitute vegan chorizo sausage, 1/4 cup corn kernels, 2 to 4 large eggs, 1 diced avocado, fresh cilantro, and hot sauce to taste. Step 1. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. If using a pizza stone, place it on the oven to heat. Stretch the dough out into a piece of parchment paper or greased pizza pan to your desired thickness. Layer the base by spreading the refried beans evenly, followed by the salsa, cheese, corn, and cooked chorizo. Make small wells in the topping using the back of the spoon and carefully crack raw eggs into those spaces. Step 3. Bake for 12 to 15 minutes until the crust is crisp, the cheese melts completely, and the egg whites are opaque. Garnish with fresh chopped avocado, cilantro, and drizzle hot sauce before slicing. If you prefer your egg yolks runny, you can also cook the eggs separately in a skillet over easy and slide them onto the hot pizza right after it comes out. And that is your recipe for today, the Huevos Rancheros Pizza.
Cowabunga, dudes!
Thank you for listening to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This podcast has no affiliation with Eastman, Laird, Mirage Studios, IDW Studios, Archie Comics, Nickelodeon Studios, or Paramount. This podcast is a part of the Dorkening Podcast Network and the Collector's Maze Network, and is sponsored in part by Deadly Grounds Coffee, coffee to die for. Check out our other shows on thedorkening.com and thecollectorsmazenetwork.com. Epic Tales from the Sewers is recorded by Justin Cooper. Be sure to check out some of our other amazing shows on the Dorkening, like Splash Pages, Retro Redoctopus, Comics Paradox, The Dork Knight, Bear at Night Podcast, The Old Man Wade Show, Hooked on Movies, Token with the Dead, and The Wicked Horror Show. And check out the amazing shows on the Collector's Maze Network: The Creature Designer, Glyph Keepers, Cost for Hope, Road Tripvia, Realmcast, Eat, Drink, and Game, Floor Access, Scooby Addicts, A Cartridge and a Quest, Nerdless Miniatures, Welsh Wizarding Collector, and House of Geekery.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Redoctopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite seems trying to say is that on Retro Redoctopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh. And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Octopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.